Actors are so worried about
Everything.
spelling it. Yeah. And, if you're going to spell it all out for me, I won't have any creative,
You always tell them what Lee told them, which is the creative part for the actor is not interpreting the play. The creative part for the actor is making it come to life within your body. That's a creative act.
Absolutely. Amen.
That is
Amen,
your
brother.
only creative act.
And
You don't decide what it's about.
Making it come to life through your body and living it out
exactly.
each and every
Right.
night.
Right. That's a creative act, and it's a creative act every night. So you're even more creative than the author. He only had to write it once. You have to do it every night. The fifth step, if you will, the fifth plateau, should be whether you're starting to work scenes, work parts of scenes, work acts.
Do you try to do those in chronological order, or depends?
I would always do it from the first of the play on, because I don't care what the play is, because everything that happens in a play is based on what happened previously. So if you start later anywhere in the play other than the first scene, how can they be there?
Mm-hmm.
How can anything be right?
Mm-hmm.
Be up in the air, but don't jump up
Yeah.
there. How are you going to do that?
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Right.
So
in movie making, if you had your druthers, you would shoot in chronological
course.
order.
Yeah. Now, sometimes that's not...
Some movie directors have tried to do that.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of them have tried to do it.
Yeah.
But in the movies, sometimes it's just a pragmatic thing that you're shooting this segment in Toronto and you got to do there on these days, and you got started later than you had hoped, and so you got to go to Toronto on those days, although that's the conclusion of the movie. It's a harder thing to do, except that movies are taken in such little bites that you can almost always get a little of what it's supposed to be, because it's only a little bite.
But the actor has to be very clever, very aware of the fact that this is after I've gone through this, and this, and have some sense of that in that scene that he might be shooting the first day.
Right, but if you watch movies, this is a broad statement, if you watch movies, generally there's not very much acting in them. And what I mean by that is there's not a lot of, these things have happened to me before, and what do I do now? You don't really see that kind of progression. You don't see somebody usually who's fine, who's talking to somebody, and has to be furious or totally broken down, sad, crying, or anything. You don't usually see that. It doesn't really happen. You don't see much acting in movies other than I'm saying my lines logically and I seem natural and genuine to you when I say them. But dramatic events are not made of moments which are just natural. They're made of dramatic moments. And that means that what you do makes me change from what I was doing before. And actually, you don't see a lot of that in movies except in physicality.
Well, you're saying
somebody's starting to run out the door. Somebody pulls the gun. Stop. You see that. You don't see the man who's running, not expecting a gun, and the shock on his face when he's actually confronted with a gun. You don't see that. You don't see that. You see cuts. It cuts from this till now he's stopped. And all the director in that cut has to do is say, okay, he's very shocked here. And if he can't get it out of the guy being shocked, he'll do something to him to shock him. And so the actor is only shocked for that one instant. There's no progression of coming from one to the other, because those are all different shots.
But are you saying that that's a function of the medium itself? Yes. You're not saying it's bad acting. You're saying it's just
it's a function of how
the medium
things
itself.
are done.
Yeah.
You rarely see this. I'm okay. Somebody tells me something. I go through a whole emotional change, and now I move out from that.
Right.
You don't see that very much.
Because usually that would not be done in one take, in one shot, right? It would
Right.
be multiple shots.
Right.
Yeah. I guess
so
movies
for the
that are-
actor, it's a different reality than the whole build that comes on the stage.
But don't they still need a sense of, despite that, don't they still need a sense of where they are, where their character is at the end of the movie?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But for instance, Woody Allen is said about him, gives you only your scene. You don't even know what happened the rest of the movie. That's the way he deals with people. They come in, they shoot their scene, that's it. They don't know what happened before. They don't know what happened later.
Did he ever state a reason why he does that? Does he do it purposely to get a performance out of them, or is it just more that...
I think he's trying to keep them from acting. I think what he wants most of all, except he doesn't do it when he himself is in the piece, but he wants most of all a sense of just human spontaneity. That's my guess.
Yeah.
But it's just that in a different medium, I can cut you being shot because of anything under the sun into a scene where somebody pulled a gun on you and now you're shocked by showing him pulling the gun and then showing you shocked. I don't see you the whole time. I only see you the result. And by the way, what happens as a trick a lot in movies to get past actual acting is that how they cut it only gives the stimulus and the after response reality. You don't see the moment of response. Now, often in movies, because actors in movies have to break down and cry and can't, this is what you see. Somebody says something to them, then they're supposed to cuts to their response, where they're supposed to break down. They can't do it. They turn their head away from the camera. And you see the back of their head while you hear them going, oh, I can't believe it happened. You don't see him there fine. And then his face and the whole change come over him. You don't see that. It's not shot. So in movies, although what you say is totally true, it's not how it happens. Generally.
Also, I've seen in movies where the shocking thing or the news, camera on the reaction, the tear is already there.
Exactly. Right.
You don't see the response when the tear starts.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Because before the tear, there was no recognition that the shocking news was going to come. And so that whole change from one state of being to the next in movies is gotten around by just cutting, showing something. Because in a cut, the psychology of a cut is this moment leads to the next moment. This moment somehow causes the next moment.
And you could leave out the response because the audience's brain will fill it in.
Yes, exactly. Right. Oh, now he's crying. Now, there's one scene I shot for an actor's, as a proof of concept for an actor's DVD, where it's shot with Stephen and Jim doing a scene from a television series called Cracker. Well, before, when I was just testing the cameras, before we started working, it was running, and Jim is sitting there, and he's wiping his face and fixing his beard and kind of waiting and so forth. I used that in the scene. Nobody was acting yet.
And he didn't think
he was
being
acting
watched
yet.
in a sense.
No. He just knew that camera was on. But I cut it in because before Stephen's character comes to Jim's character, he is talking about Jim's character. I have to go see the man who's going to be doing my mother's funeral tomorrow, but I think he's killed somebody to help his brother.
David Harvey killed the first prostitute, Jean McIlvaine. Of that there was no doubt. But the murder of the second prostitute was carried out in exactly the same way, even though David was in custody at the time. So, the second woman had to have been killed by someone David Harvey had confided in. Who would a good Catholic boy confide in? His priest, of course. Especially since his priest was his own brother, Father Michael. The same priest who would be conducting my mother's funeral tomorrow.
This always used to be in the dark. Through the grill, with the priest running his fingers through his hair, dandruff spiraling in the shaft of light.
Well, things have changed. Vatican II.
Ah,
And Head and Shoulders.
oh yes.
What can I do for you?
And so I have to go see him. And who would be more likely to help his brother out than his own brother? Well, I cut in there into Stephen's dialogue so it looks like, he's waiting. The guy's coming to do a confession now, and he's waiting and so forth. And it works great. So Jim didn't even know he was in the scene. He was only sitting there, the actor, waiting to get started, making sure that his face looked like he wanted it to look like.
And if you can get an actor to not think that he's on, you eliminate
that helps.
You eliminate the dirty little secret, don't you? Because they won't be trying to do anything.
What you cannot do is take somebody and turn him into Simon Stimson inside. Can't do that. So you take Simon Stimson when he looks like he can't even act, and he doesn't know he's Simon Stimson. You do. And if he can't memorize his lines, you'll deal with him in a way that he'll do it. You'll take the pressure off of him to be exact, if that's a problem.
Right.
Or if he's looking...
Yeah, it's like he was looking at the audience like, look at me, I'm on stage.
All right. What he's asking for at that moment is not, look at me, I'm on the stage.
He's asking for their love.
He's asking for, how am I doing? So the first time he did that, you'd say, keep doing what you're doing. It's going well. Fine. You don't encourage him. Oh, you're good. People, when they're encouraging in that sense, I'm to encourage him now. People always read it as full of shit. It makes them feel worse.
If you say you're good.
It's not just you're good. If I'm going to encourage this kid, you're going to do it like a bad actor. But if you look at him and say, you know what? I know what's inside. He's having a difficulty with that. But right now, I don't want him looking at the audience. So I'll just say, no, it's good. It's fine. Don't worry. Take it easy. We're not in a hurry here. Just speak. Tell me the things that he's saying, and we'll see what happens to you. Don't worry what happens. All of that kind of way of dealing with
Right,
him.
you would say something like that. You would not tell him, don't look out on the audience.
No.
That's too direct, right?
He doesn't even understand why he's doing it. You got to know why he's doing it. If you're going to cast Marilyn Monroe, you got to know who you're casting, which was the problem with Prince and Showgirl. He thought he was a wonderful director and all of that, but he thought he was a brilliant actor, so he must be a brilliant director too. He understands Shakespeare. Why, that play's about a man who cannot make up his mind. Bad director. And so he doesn't know what he's getting when he's getting Marilyn Monroe. When he's getting Marilyn Monroe, he's going to get all of that responsiveness, everything on camera. And you're going to get somebody who you have to have a helper. Make sure that she's up on time. Make sure that she would have had to have been cared for, not in the British way. Pull yourself together, man. No. She would have had to have had somebody come in. Just, Marilyn, look, you've done wonderful things in movies. Boy, in that bust up. Nobody else could have played that and gotten the same thing out of it. And so while you're here, don't worry, I'm not going to treat you like the queen. We're not going to give you the crown jewels. But I want somebody to make your way easier and help you with it. Make sure you're easy with her. Make sure you're not at all demanding of her. Make sure you leave her doing things that she really wants to do, but has trouble doing. You've given the attendant all the instructions. She would have gotten her there on time. She would have made sure that she was awake. And you could have gotten a performance out of it, especially in a movie, harder in a play. Especially in a movie, you only got to do it once. That's in the can. Now you do get it.
So in other words, if Marilyn is not clearly not getting herself ready to get to the set to be on time, you have to understand why.
Right.
In other words, what is the psychological
Olivia-
reason? And then if you,
Olivier did an English bullshit thing.
or he basically said you better be here on time, right?
Yeah, not only better be, but if you have any responsibility to your art, you'll be here on time, darling.
Which only fed into her fears.
Made it worse. Then you got even better out of her. And he would have been better. It would have helped him as the actor because he would have been able to deal with her understanding thing and be able to accept it. Instead of always playing the same like that stupid bitch ruining my movie. And so he's wooden and he's stupid and everything bad. I think it's the worst performance I ever saw him give. You know, the Hamlet is so pretentious and stupid, but it's not as bad as that was just an awful performance.
At least it's not wooden in that sense.
Exactly.
Right?
Not phony and wooden. Somebody who obviously is not can't talk to the person that was across from him because he obviously doesn't see who's across from him. He sees who should be across